Boca out of the Libertadores in the qualifying stage. One of the most scandalous ends to a Libertadores for one of the biggest teams in South America. It was pathetic. Fernando Gago needs to leave now. Now, I want to be very clear with what I'm saying here. Gago is to blame for all of this because he played players that weren't 100% healthy. He played players that looked tired. They looked tired after 20, 30, 40, almost 40 minutes. They didn't have many ideas. The first 10 minutes, they were spurred on by adrenaline and the heat of the moment. They forced the ball into the back of the net, that own goal by Tronco. Then the Barcos goal kind of brings them back to earth. It's frustrating to see a coach that has no drive, a coach that has no vision into what can be done next, how to revert a bad situation, and he just sat on the bench. Hopeless. Not even hopeless. Even worse, impotent. He didn't know what to do. He had players that needed to play and should have played and didn't. Changuito Ceballos didn't play, but Alan Velasco does. Alan Velasco needs to go back to MLS. Alan Velasco needs to be in a position where there's no pressure, everything's cool, everything's fine. You know, if you win, great. If you don't, that's fine too. If you miss a penalty, it's okay, no problem. Don't worry, you'll get them next time. No, that's not Boca. That's not Boca at all. Boca just had one of their most disastrous ends to a Libertadores run ever. Might as well not even shown up. That's how bad it is. I mean, not even going to Sudamericana was as bad as losing this. And people say, oh, but they lost to River. No. At least they got to a final and they fought and they died with their boots on in Madrid. However you want to look at it. I much prefer losing that way. I much prefer losing in Rio. Me. I don't know how fans are in terms of that. I much rather see them lose in a final than lose in the second round of qualifying. Second round of qualifying, not even the group stage. Yeah, okay, bad luck too. Cavani missing the way that he missed. Jimenez missing a goal that ends up hitting the crossbar. A lot of things that happened in that match. But goodness gracious, oh my God, this team just needs to be. The project needs to be blown up, start anew. And I wouldn't even question if Juan Román Riquelme tonight says, that's it, we got to start over, I'm done. Let's have elections and let's do this all over again because it's a disastrous in terms of what Boca has been able to do. It's an embarrassing moment for Boca as an institution. And they really have to start assessing themselves. I'm talking about Riquelme, the board, Gago. Gago should just leave. Gago should just resign. Thank you very much. I did my best. Fans will applaud him. He's a former Boca player that had a lot of titles as a player. But this didn't... Look, the project didn't even take off. You can't say it didn't work because it never started. You can't say the car had a good race if it never started, if it never got out of the blocks. This car never got out of the blocks. And it needs to be done. It needs to be scrapped, start all over now. I don't know what they're going to do because, yeah, they still have Club World Cup. But this was their priority. This was number one. This was the thing that they needed to do in order to get into Libertadores, in order to be able to make a run, in order to possibly win it for the 7th time, in order to end that 17, now 18-year streak of not winning a Libertadores. It's embarrassing. Boca fans feel embarrassed, and I feel bad for them because, you know what? They've given their heart and soul to the team. The problem is when the team doesn't reciprocate. That ends up being the biggest issue when it comes to Boca, when it comes to any team, for that matter. A team that at times seemed like it had no life, like it had no soul, like it had no ideas, lack of clarity, lack of a vision of what needs to be done. And there were players waiting in the wings, and none of them were used. And you had wingers playing or wide players playing in the middle, players that more or less play in the middle playing out wide. You had players that were reinvented. Gago decided, well, let me take out Marchesín, bring in Bray. Bray, who hasn't played in almost, I want to say 2.5, almost 3 months. A young goalkeeper coming in, having to go into penalty shootouts, and it comes out very badly for Boca. One of many things that came out very badly for Boca. Tis what tis. Now you got to learn to live with it. It's going to be a very, very dull year. It's going to be a very, very trying year for Boca Juniors. It's going to be a very, very trying year for Boca Juniors and seeing where they're going to find themselves. Because domestically, nothing matters now. Nothing matters. Club World Cup, maybe it'll be some type of solace if they win it. And only if they win it. Because right now, if you look at the group they're in, I doubt they even get out. So, yet another failure, another mishap that they could have in 2025.